everyone, welcome back to another episode of ABA with Vic. Now before we begin with this week's topic, as always, go ahead and click the subscribe button so that every week you can get weekly updates of ABA with Vic. This week's topic is difficult behavior. Behavioral outbursts, everyone has seen them, so we have to address these. When working with children with autism, we might experience individuals going on tantrum mode, aggression, crying, taunting, and more. First, we have to acknowledge that any type of behavior is a form of communication. Whether it's crying, laughing, screaming, this type of behavior communicates something. When we hear someone crying, we can assume that that person is either hurt or sad. And also when we hear someone laugh, we could assume that they're happy. So by them exhibiting that crying behavior or laughing behavior, we could assume that they're either happy or sad, because this type of behavior shows a form of communication. Now there are times that difficult behaviors arise, and this could be a form of communication. As I stated before, behaviors are part of a communication. Some of these behaviors can include crying, anxiety, screaming, laughter, aggression, close proximity, facial expressions, nodding yes or nodding no, giving objects or taking away objects, and the list goes on. When working with individuals with autism, you have to know the individual. When you know the individual, you soon begin to learn their mannerisms as well as their behavior and behavior patterns. When difficult behaviors arise, don't take it personally. Once again, difficult behaviors could arise due to communication. Imagine that you're in a foreign country and you don't know the language, but you find yourself really thirsty or hungry or feeling ill. Now imagine that you're in this foreign country with a foreign language and try to express your feelings to another individual who you don't share the same language. Now, as you can imagine, this could be difficult. Perhaps you could start crying because of the pain. Perhaps you could get easily upset because you're hungry. So just keep in mind this. Sometimes individuals with autism cannot communicate easily, so we have to be proactive on how to handle these type of behaviors. Remember that they might want to communicate something to us. Remember that if difficult behaviors arise, don't take it personally. Some of these behaviors that we might consider problematic behavior or maladaptive behavior can actually mean something. It can mean seeking attention. It could also mean refusing or rejecting items. Remember to teach appropriate behaviors as well as alternative communication behaviors. And by doing so, you could decrease the likeliness of maladaptive behavior from occurring again. Remember to consider how we communicate ourselves to other people. Now, I want you to reflect on how we use communication to get what we want. As we grow up, we have been taught to use please when requesting something. So usually when we request something, we say please, because we know that that please is going to get us something or give us something. And this is the same case with individuals with autism. For individuals who are nonverbal, crying or screaming might actually help them get something. They have learned that by screaming or yelling, they could get attention, and that's something that they might want. Though this behavior may not be appropriate, we always want to teach appropriate behaviors and teach alternative communication behaviors as well. There are 4 steps in the rage cycle. The first one is triggering. The second one is escalation. The third one is rage and meltdown. And the last one is post-rage or post-meltdown. For these 4 steps, we always want to be proactive on how to handle behaviors. When addressing behaviors, you want to be very proactive and think fast. As you build a rapport with your child or student, find strategies or things that can help them calm down. Sometimes this could be toys, blankets, breaks, and more. Remember that we want to teach appropriate skills before going into tantrum mode or crisis mode. Make sure you address the behavior and always have a plan and a backup plan so that if your first plan doesn't work, you have a backup plan that could work. When working with individuals with autism, sometimes in tantrum mode, things may not go according to plan. That's why you want to be proactive and have different plans. When your student or your child is in triggering mode, what you want to be is be mindful about the environment. Is there something in the environment that's bothering the student? Or is it something physiological that is affecting the student? A headache, a toothache, stomach ache. If you see a student being in trigger mode, give them options. Be proactive. Perhaps give them a break, offer them a blanket if they have anxiety, or move them around the classroom if something in the environment is bothering them. When your student enters into escalation mode and the behaviors are rising, you might want to prompt them to use coping skills. If they feel upset or angry, what you might want to do is have the student count to 10 or 5 if 10 is too much. Give them a communication board so we can find out what the student wants or needs. Use visual supports. If your student enters into rage mode or meltdown, give the student space. Address the behaviors. Don't ignore the student or the child. If you're in a classroom setting, support your staff. Make environmental arrangements. Move things away from the student that could potentially cause harm to others. These could be chairs, tables, folders, binders, computers, cables. If your student enters into a meltdown, remember to remain calm. You want to make rational and logical decisions. You don't want to continue escalating the tantrum. If you want to direct the student or the child, use a firm voice but a low voice so that the student can also calm down. If the student is not ready to communicate his or her needs, give them space and also give them time. Perhaps you could give them a 1-minute timer. Once the timer goes off for that minute, check in with them. Make sure that they are okay, but remember, give them their space. If the student continues being into rage mode, some things that you want to do is to remove some students or other staff. Sometimes other students could be triggers, or sometimes other staff could be triggers. There have been times where I've seen students actually go towards other staff. And what you might want to do is to remove the staff so that the student could actually calm down and de-escalate. When redirecting a student, make sure that you only direct them once, because the student may be overwhelmed with so much information from the classroom or other staff speaking to him, the actual behavior might increase. So always remember to decrease verbal demands. As an educator, if you decide that someone else is going to help you with the behavior, assign a lead position. The lead will also direct the student, while the other staff may redirect or block the student. Once the student is done with the rage or meltdown, the student goes into post-rage or post-meltdown. And in this stage, what you want to do is offer support and teach skills. Once the behavior is over, what you want to do is address the behavior with the staff. Talk about the behavior. And talk about the behavior and talk about how it's going to look like as a team when the behavior occurs again. Come up with proactive strategies. Understand the signs that the student is exhibiting before going into tantrum mode or crisis mode. Remember that after the tantrum, some students are not ready to learn. So give them some time to calm down and be back to be integrated back to the class. After the behavior or the tantrum, what you want to do is praise the student for what he does. But remember, we want to praise appropriate behaviors. So what you could say is, good job sitting down, not sitting quietly. Or you could say, I see that you're calmed down and you're ready to work. You could do a compliance check. And a compliance check is to make sure that the student is calmed down and ready to be integrated back to the class or the activity. So let's say you had a student who had a tantrum. And this student threw chairs and crayons on the classroom. If you direct the student to pick up the crayons and they complied, you want to praise them for that. You could say, thank you for listening and picking up the crayons, because you want to praise appropriate behaviors. You don't want to give attention to the maladaptive behaviors. We spoke about how tantrums could be a form of communication. Perhaps you're doing something new that the student didn't know, and now they're having a tantrum. So one thing that you could do that is very proactive is to prime them or alert them. When you prime them or alert them, they know what's coming up next. If you have a student who has difficult time transitioning from, let's say, the cafeteria to the classroom, you can prime them from the cafeteria to walk back to the classroom. What you could say is, okay, we're going to keep walking to the classroom. Prime them on what you want them to do. So for example, you could say, okay, when we finish eating, we're going to walk back to class. By saying this, the student is learning, okay, when I'm finished eating and exiting the cafeteria, I'm going to have to walk back to class. So they know that after the cafeteria, their next destination is the classroom. Depending on the student's skill, you might want to come up with interventions. Interventions that are appropriate for the student. This could go from visual supports, PECs, communication boards, sign language, or actually using their words if they have the ability to communicate their needs and wants. Remember that you want to use these systems and interventions constantly. Just because the student learned and mastered the skill doesn't mean that you have to stop working on it. You want to be consistent with these skills so that they don't lose these skills. Teach communication as a replacement to the behavior. So if the student is screaming or whining to get something, teach them to appropriately request or demand for that item. If they have this speech, you can prompt them to say, I want, etc. If they don't have the speech, give them a communication board or PECs so that they can communicate what they want. So for this week, we went over difficult behavior. We went over the 4 stages that a student can go into tantrums. Remember, if difficult behaviors arise, remember to remain calm. Remember to support the student. And also, address the behavior. Don't ignore the student. If you don't understand why the student is exhibiting this type of behavior, take ABC data. Perhaps the function of the behavior could be escape, tangible, automatic or sensory, or task avoidance. ABC data will help you understand this type of behavior. When you know your student or your child, sometimes you can see behavior patterns. So remember that you want to be proactive. Remember to talk to your team about these behaviors so that you can know how to address these behaviors. It is important to talk to your team because you will find out what is your role when handling behaviors. Are you going to lead the group or are you going to assist the group? And also what interventions you're going to place for the student. Now, if you have any questions regarding this topic, you can leave me a comment down below or email me at ABAwithVic@gmail.com. You can also tweet me at ABAwithVic. Remember to make this week amazing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And as always, thank you for watching. Hey guys, remember that April is coming up real quick. I am going to give out 4 amazing prizes to 4 lucky subscribers. The prizes include 1 gift card, 1 card magnet, and this amazing ribbon for autism awareness. All you have to do is just leave me a comment down below and let me know that you want to win. It's super easy as that. So remember, just leave me a comment down below, and each week on April, I'm gonna select 1 lucky subscriber to be my winner. So remember, all you have to do is just leave me a comment down below, comment and tell me that you want to win. And on April 2nd, I'm gonna select the first winner. Good luck to you, and as always, thank you for watching.